Have you ever heard the tale of Baby Yoda the Cute?
I have not. Speak up.
Folks say that his cuteness and big eyes and adorable little ears could control the minds of people who want to buy merch of him.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Not from Kathleen Kennedy. Hi, guys. Welcome.
I wasn't expecting it to go that direction.
Why not? We'll throw the joke out there. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Star Wars. We're gonna recap what was announced, talk about our hopes for it. We're gonna talk about Bad Batch and Mandalorian a little, maybe even a little Andor, because we never reviewed that properly, and it's fucking glorious. And if you haven't watched it, you're a bad person, and I'm a toxic Star Wars fan, and fuck you.
It is also worth acknowledging we are just over halfway through Star Wars stuff. No, it's still one day left of Star Wars Celebration, so there may be more that gets announced.
There
In
could
which
be a
case we'll do a follow
surprise.
up to this, but
Imagine
time
if
being.
imagine if it's literally just like character art. It's like, oh, Ahsoka will look like this and something, and we're like, whole video about Ahsoka's new design. She doesn't have head tentacle things anymore. What are those? What are the things on Ahsoka's head? Are those horns?
Laku? That might just be what they call them Twi'leks. I don't know what they call them. To
I
Gruta.
I have no idea. I've always just referred to them as the head thingies. Like the Twi'lek head thingies, the Ahsoka head thingies. Occasionally you'll get those one crab-looking guys that have multiple head thingies. I have no idea. I have to assume there's a scientific word for it. There's a scientific word for everything in Star Wars. Have you found it?
Gruta. Yep, Laku. I was right.
We're right. I approve. Thank you, Jack. Jack is my Star Wars story in here. So, through Jack,
Yeah.
through Jack,
Don't give
we
me too
will.
much credit.
I
Too
give
much
you
credit.
all the credit. We are going to get everything in this video right, like Jar Jar Binks and Obi-Wan Kessoli.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Kessoli. His name is Kessoli, and he did the Kessoli run.
In 13 parsecs.
I think you mean parsecs, but okay.
Parasect. Pokemon.
So, we're here to talk Star Wars. We're going to start with that very controversial question that is weirdly enough slightly controversial. Jack, do you like Star Wars?
I feel like that would have been a good question to ask before I outed myself in knowing that they were called Laku. Um, no, I like Star Wars. I like it. I don't love it. I'm not super passionate about it. But I, at minimum, enjoy all the content from it I've seen. Uh, there are movies and episodes of shows and series that I think are a bit lackluster. Could have been better. I have issues with a lot of Star Wars, but I enjoy the vast majority of Star Wars.
I'm kind of in the same boat. My opinions on Star Wars is I really like it, and I've loved it since I was a kid. I'm not super aggressive with it, though. Like, I remember seeing videos where, like, I think Disney did, like, a Star Wars dance party or something where the Emperor, like, break dances or something. And
Okay.
there were people like, this breaks canon! This is so... what the Emperor wouldn't do a dance-off with Chewbacca! And I was just sitting there like, I like that Chewbacca is dancing to Sexy and I Know It. That's really funny. So that's the Star Wars fan I am. I'm not super entrenched in the lore, but I do love the saga of the Skywalkers and the Solos and other people who matter and exist in this world.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a bit different on that. I distinctly remember in British here, primary school, as a young kid. So I grew up through the 2000s, so the prequels had been coming out. Those are the ones that everyone else around me was growing up with. And I remember the other kids playing in the playground Star Wars, and I was like, am I going to be over here playing Doctor Who? I remember not getting it. Like, laser swords, spaceship. I didn't find that interesting. I like science. I only really got into Star Wars late teenagers,
Hmm.
late teenage years. When I rewatched, I mean, I watched Clone Wars as it was coming out, but I think I enjoyed it. It just didn't really, I didn't necessarily drink it all in.
Hmm.
It was like, oh, it's on TV. I'll watch it. Yeah.
I I
And
know
then no, I've
I've
gone back and rewatched it. I've watched all of Rebels. I've seen all the films. Yeah.
I know that I've probably told the story on stream before or somewhere, but when I was a kid, I got like around like 9, 10, maybe 11. I got beat up for liking Star Wars, and then
Mm.
years passed. The Force Awakens came out, and that same person who beat me out was like, "Have you guys seen Force Awakens?" And I was like, "You motherfucker, you've turned."
You've finally joined the light.
I was his victim. I was I was his Anakin, and he was my Obi-Wan. Or reverse. He saw the light instead of killing me as Darth Vader. It makes sense. This is a weird
Oh yeah.
reference, but let us continue. I was trying
Yeah,
to make a
we both
joke,
like
man.
our Star Wars. Hence why we're the ones having the discussion today.
Yep. Mel and Cher are both dead. They died on the Death Star when we blew it up. It's okay. Um, had to happen. Mel was
Yeah.
gonna blow up our planet. Maybe they'll come back as like Sith or something. I don't know.
That's not how the Force works.
Is it not? Because that keeps happening. It seems like the Force works that way.
You,
Old
sir, need to
Solo.
read the Journal of the Will, clearly.
My bad. I'm not super religious, you see.
For the for those who got that reference, you're good.
I know about the Journal of the Wills a little bit.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
isn't that like, oh god, I hate thinking about this because the story is so weird. But isn't technically the entire story of Star Wars a prequel because R2 is telling it to the Wills?
Kinda.
I mean, I think that's
I don't
why.
know how canon that is at this point, but yeah,
Well, it kind of explains the whole a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Like these are all events that happened forever ago.
yeah.
But with that, let us dive into some of this news and some of the stuff that's been announced. Uh, First of all, and I think this is the biggest thing they announced, Rey is coming back. Rey is going to be in a movie that takes place after uh, Rise of Skywalker. It's apparently about Rey restarting the Jedi Order, and Daisy Ridley will pop up. Potentially Grogu could pop up. I'm hearing people are talking about that. Technically, potentially a ton of characters from the current timeline could pop up. Like I don't know if Mando is still alive, but Ahsoka could be maybe. Like I remember when the Ahsoka voice cameo happened in Rise of Skywalker, people were taking that as like confirmation that Ahsoka was dead. And then somebody behind the movie was like, that's not really confirmation. She could still be out there. So maybe Ahsoka could be in it. Maybe Grogu, because those are Jedi peoples. But what do you think about them continuing Rey's storyline? Because I like it, but I have a little bit of a caveat with that.
Yeah, I like the idea. Funnily enough, I think this thing that was announced that I am perhaps least interested in.
Mm.
I think, yeah, okay, give us Ray rebuilding the Jedi Order, all that stuff. But Luke didn't, as we found out with the sequels, failed ultimately with, okay, so have her learning from Luke's mistakes, have,
Mm.
okay, Mark Hamill can cameo, he can Force Ghost, you know. As we said, Grogu, I, we'll get into it when we talk about Mandalorian. I'm realizing as Mandalorian season 3 specifically has gone on, it's like, a bit of an issue with how slowly Grogu ages, but like
Mm.
by the time this film takes place, I don't think he'd be having like complete conversations yet. He'd still be very young in his
He
development.
might be he may be a teenager by then. I don't know how
Yeah,
the Yoda's age really. Do we have a name for Yoda's like species yet?
we do not.
Okay. You, you see, when Mandalorian first started, I didn't think Mando was trying to take Grogu to the Jedi. I thought he was trying to take him like back to his homeworld. So I got
Oh,
kind
okay.
so I got kind of excited about seeing that planet and stuff. But then in season 2 they make it really clear, oh no, he's taking him to Luke.
Yeah,
You know, with that scene where he takes him to Luke. It's pretty damn clear.
yeah.
And then magically in season 3, he's just back with Mando. And if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, you have no idea why.
But they did a recap at the start of the first episode of the season,
Oh,
so we're getting
fair
sidetracked.
enough.
We're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, we're talking about the Mando
Uh,
stuff now. We gotta wait. We gotta wait.
yeah. So with this Ray sequel to the sequel thing, I am looking forward to it. We'll see where it goes. I think, I hope, an issue that the sequels had the whole way through is again the lack of direction. That it just kept changing what it was doing. So my hope for this is that they would take my favorite aspect of the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special and have Ray learning to be a teacher while teaching Finn.
Mm.
But I'm not too sure how willing John Boyega is going to be to come back at this point.
Yeah, my hope is for Poe. I'd love to see Poe come back, and maybe some of the other Star Wars side characters. Like, I know a lot of people don't like her. I love Rose. I would love to see Rose come back. Uh, I'd love to see some other characters from The Last Jedi. Like, we haven't seen DJ in forever. He just kind of fucked off. It'd be
Yeah,
cool to see some of those guys come back. But the biggest character I would like to see return, she's restarting the Jedi Order. Rey's getting this sequel. You gotta bring back, I'm blanking on her name for some reason, but that alien lady with the big goggles.
Maz Kanata.
Maz Kanata. You gotta bring her back. You gotta tell the story of how she got Anakin's lightsaber.
They're never telling that
They
story.
need
I
to.
break it to you.
They said it's a story for another time. This is another time. Tell the fucking story. I want to know. I've been curious about this since it happened. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, I think Maz Kanata makes a lot of sense to pop up because
Yeah,
she, like, I don't want to use this word because, you know, it rhymes and all that. But she was kind of Rey's Yoda. Like, she gave her some advice here and there. Um, she was very helpful. Like, I remember she has that line of, like, oh yeah, the Jedi, the Sith, the New Order, the the Empire. These enemies always come and they always have different names. It seems like somebody like that would be good counsel for restarting the Jedi Order. So that's the big character I would like to see come back. However, my one grievance with this is, weirdly enough, I had this conversation on stream the other day when we were talking about Walking Dead, where I was like, you know, the thing with the Walking Dead finale is the whole show of The Walking Dead, the whole premise is things can be fixed in the apocalypse, but then eventually it goes bad again. So when it does finally go good, we don't believe it. Like,
mm.
we know that this is temporary. That kind of also applies for Star Wars. Every time the Jedi Order gets restarted, or every time there's like a moment of peace, somebody comes in with an empire and fucks it all up. Here's my challenge to this movie about Rey. Don't bring in a new empire. Don't do a new empire. Don't do any of that. Make the story actually Rey has to like fight either like enemy Jedi, or maybe you could bring in the Greys. Maybe you could figure out something to do that isn't another giant planet destroying thing, isn't another big army. I also don't think the premise of Rey's gonna restart the Jedi Order is all that interesting for an entire movie, but maybe it could be. Like, maybe this will be like, I don't know, Jedi Hogwarts, and she'll have like a ton of cool students. Like maybe Gunji pops up. I don't know.
I think he's fully fledged enough. Well, he was still a Padawan. I don't think he necessarily needs more Jedi training.
Well, what I mean is maybe he's a
challenge you,
teacher.
Oh yeah, that's an idea.
He'd be old enough by then.
I will challenge you. Okay, pretend the sequels never happened, and this was set. Oh, it's after Episode 6, and it's Luke starting the new Jedi Order. Would you have that same criticism?
Yeah.
But you don't think that's a strong enough story.
Yeah. If the sequels didn't happen, I think I'd be a little more lenient on it. But like, you gotta understand. To me, this sounds like, hey kids, you want to see Rey teach at a school for a 2-hour-long movie? It's not that interesting to me. Even if it were Luke, it's not that interesting to me. However, if they do it right, they can make it really interesting. Like, what if it's like, oh yeah, Luke's a teacher, and Ahsoka's a teacher, and like, they all have students they like, and they're all going on missions with these students. There's a way to make this work. I'm not gonna pretend like it's dead on arrival or anything. I'm just saying, if... Weirdly enough, I'm going to reference the Star Wars Holiday Special too. That was really cool because it had cool time travel stuff. It had Rey learning about like her older teacher's failures. That was an interesting look into Rey as a character. If we can do something like that, maybe with using Force Ghosts and stuff, because I still fundamentally don't want time travel in actual Star Wars. I've seen Rebels. I see you biting your lip. I just don't want a lot of it. I feel like it's something that can easily get overused and stuff. But I'm okay with it in Rebels. It was well executed there. I think that there's a way to make this work, but given the sequel trilogy, I'm gonna go in a little hesitant, and I'm really excited for Daisy Ridley, because Rey is a great character. Like, I'll go to my deathbed on that.
I think I'm excited for Daisy Ridley. I think Rey is a character who had and still has a lot of potential. I am waiting for them to do something I find interesting with that. Hopefully this is it. Again, I'd really like the angle of Rey learning how to teach people.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a fun angle. That is, again, in the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. She's a failure and everything. So see, although she doesn't need to have one-on-one talks with all those different Force ghosts and previous Jedi and everything. But I want to see Rey struggle. Learn. Figure this out. How
you want to see her go through some conflict.
As The Last Jedi, it's gonna take some work. And also, here's a character that I won't say I guarantee you'll be in it, but Broom Kid.
I could see Broom Kid showing up.
He's got a pretty strong chance.
I'm going to say something, and I don't know if this is controversial. Maybe it won't be, given the reception of the sequel trilogy, but I'm going to say it. I think the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special might be the best thing involving the characters from the sequel trilogy. I'm trying to think of a better, and I'm like, well, Force Awakens. Well, Force Awakens was kind of a redo of A New Hope. Well, Last Jedi. Well, Last Jedi has some stuff I don't love in it. Well, Rise of Skywalker. I think it might be it. I think it might be the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
I will disagree in point to Force Awakens,
Mm.
but sure.
I've learned to love Last Jedi. I know that means I'm an enemy of the internet, but I've
No, no,
learned to
no.
like it.
In my previous house, we had a sign above our front door. This is a pro Last Jedi household. You're in good company.
Either worship the holy Jedi text or get the fuck out.
The sacred text.
But let's talk about something that is an idea that is a little bit more original. They are ripping off Avatar and doing a story about the first ever Jedi, the dawn of the Jedi, if you will.
Mm.
And I'm honestly really psyched for this. I've always wondered, how did the Jedi get started? Who was the very first one? How did they know they could interact with the Force? And it seems like we're getting an answer to that. And that's really cool. I always kind of hoped it would be a show. Like, I always thought it would be more interesting if we had, like, because if you're getting the first Jedi, is this guy going to, like, know about the dark side? Are we going to see the first dark side user as well? There's so many questions with this premise, and I look forward to seeing them answered.
I think, yeah, ripping off Avatar, I think is a bit much, but Dave
Well,
Filoni works on
I'm
Avatar,
mostly
so.
being sassy with that. Like, I'm mostly being. I don't
Hmm.
think they actually ripped off Avatar, but, like,
No, no.
Avatar 1 story. Yeah, there's
Having
something
brought
there.
up that comparison, though, I am a little worried because, well, I like the Avatar 1 stuff. Like, I don't like quite a few things that it does to the world and the story and the lore and
Well,
mythology around bending.
we might
So
have to do a video about that one day because that's my favorite episode of Korra. I
oh,
love
fair
that
enough. Fair.
episode.
I think, so my worry with this is that they'll mess with something that shouldn't be messed with,
Hmm.
which is the worry with most new entries in an ongoing series, especially with the prequel. Again, we have the whole prequel trilogy to deal with that and the reception it had at the time, and still has to a certain extent today. My worry is with this, so they mess it up, and because that will have major ramifications for everything that has already happened and everything comes afterwards. Again, we can patch that up, we can make it work, but that is a concern. Otherwise, yeah, I'm excited for this. This sounds great.
Mm.
Whether it's with this, okay, first Jedi, okay, we already have a lot of pre-established lore again around Typhon being the homeworld of the Jedi, where the Order started.
Mm.
Okay, so we have to visit at least that planet if it's going to be, as you said, in Last Jedi. Snoke says, "Oh, the dark rises and the light to meet it." So yeah, logically, First Jedi and First Sith would have come around about the same time, I imagine.
Mm.
So Moraband, Koraband, continuity will be fun. Yeah, I look forward to this. I hope that this goes like the Avatar 1 stuff, a lot more myth
Mm.
and like the not the living force. It's the other one. It's the I'm blanking. Cosmic force. There we go. Give us more of that.
Mm.
Don't acknowledge midichlorians or anything. This should be too far back in the timeline for them to realize that's even a thing. Just go the spiritual angle with this. That'll be a lot of fun, I think.
I won't talk about it too much, just because, like, this is a Star Wars review, but something, like, you brought it up, so I feel like I have the segue. Something I really loved about the Avatar 1 episode is it really felt like an ancient story. Like, it really felt like, oh, this is how these things went together. It felt like the kind of story you'd hear when you're a kid. Like, oh, and this person went to the land of spirits, and the spirits didn't like him at first, but he worked his way in, and he became one with the spirits and stuff like that. I kind of want to see shit like that for this Jedi story. Like, in Rebels, we saw a character like the Bendu. I'm very curious if we're going to see, like, big creatures that have already learned how to use the Force, and maybe they're teaching this first Jedi. Again, that's a little similar to what happened in Avatar 1. But They do have setups like that. Something I'm really excited for with this will be the earliest story in the Star Wars canon. We're going to see ancient Star Wars. Like, we're going to see the world of Star Wars millions, so many years before. And we already know that they used books back then. What else did they use? Did they have different vehicles before they had flying vehicles? Are the whole, like, structures of their buildings different? What does ancient technology look like in the world of Star Wars? I'm so curious about that. I think that premise alone is enough to get me in the movie theater for this.
Hmm.
I'm
No,
really
agreed.
hyped.
No, seeing the Bendu is sort of my big hope for it. And Tom Baker, I know you're getting old. Please, please, please come back to voice the Bendu. That'd be brilliant. Because again, the idea of the Bendu coming from George Lucas's original package of everything, it was the Jedi Bendu, was like the full title. But yeah, have them be involved in the beginnings of this order, this religion, you know.
No,
I think that'd be really interesting. And yeah, the technology angle will be fun. Because as you said, this being like the furthest back they've ever gone
mm-hmm.
with any Star Wars story, as far as I'm aware, there may be some bits and spots from Legend.
We have
This
never
is gonna be
gone
like,
pre-Jedi.
yeah, this is like pre-Rakatan Empire, everything, and now that that's been brought back in like to Andor, yeah, it's gonna be really like bizarre.
I am so excited. And imagine, like, the Bindu is such an interesting design in Rebels. Imagine that design in live action with CG, obviously. But imagine this giant hulking figure talking to the first ever Jedi. Like, Jesus Christ, there's potential here. And I am
Mm.
so excited for that said potential. But actually, talking about the Dawn of the Jedi, we actually have a bit of a segue here to talk about the new timeline they announced officially.
Mm.
Because the reason we had to go through the timeline each step is because they mentioned there will be stories in all of these. There are going to be books, there are going to be shows, there are going to be movies. So I think it's a good idea to go through for each one and talk about what we would hopefully like to see from it. So first,
Okay.
we have the Dawn of the Jedi. This is, of course, the Jedi, what we just talked about. This is where that movie's going to take place. It's going to feature the first ever Jedi, I assume the first ever Sith, which we
Yeah,
know a
going
little
by
bit
the
about.
logo on the timeline as well, like a light silhouette and a dark silhouette.
Mm-hmm. I love that yoga. Yogo? I love that logo of all of the Yogos here. Why did I do it again? Baby Yoda's right next to me, and I'm like, God damn it. I love that. I almost said it again. Logo. I love that logo. It's the coolest one. Like, it's got a yin yang thing going on, and all the other ones are symbols. This one's like a guy. And it's cool. I'm gushing about a logo, but it looks so cool. These are the stories pre the Old Republic. I think. Here's the thing. I want to get a video game in there. I think that would be
Mm.
really cool because, as you and me talked about, this is like prehistoric times, kinda for Star Wars. So the aliens are probably gonna look different. The environments are gonna look different. The spaceships for sure are gonna look ancient as hell, and I wonder how space travel even works. Like, have they figured out hyperspace yet? So many questions, and I want to figure that out. But then, of course, we got the Old Republic. The Old Republic, I think we know a couple stories that are coming out from there already. Of course, there's the remake of the video game coming out soon.
Mm.
Are there any Old Republic stories you would like to see? I think Darth Bane could be cool. Uh,
Yeah.
but what do you think?
I am most looking forward to the KOTOR remake.
Mm.
I've never played the original. I'm only familiar with like the things I've absorbed through pop culture osmosis for KOTOR. I've never played it. I've never watched a playthrough, so I'm looking forward to that and getting my hands on that for the first time.
Mm.
I believe just on that point you made about the technology again with Dawn of the Jedi. I believe there is hyperspace travel in the Old Republic.
Mm,
So what would be fun, and again helping tie in things across this whole timeline, is um, Bail Organa mentioned in Kenobi, and we've seen them now in live action for the first time in the first episode of Mandalorian. Is the Purrgil?
mm.
Bring them in for Dawn of the Jedi, for alluding to hyperspace. You can give us some of that info now, but it's been well established. We know it. You can show it now. You can show people. Did people ride the Purrgil at first? You know, it would be so cool. But yeah, the Old Republic. No, I don't have anything I especially want to see
Mm. Well,
because I don't know much about it. What I want to see from it is something new.
well, this is not technically new, but I still want to say it. I don't know if this would be in Dawn of Jedi or this would be the Old Republic. I know this would be before the High Republic. Um,
Mm.
I wonder if they're going to do any sort of story with the first ever Mandalorian Jedi, the guy who made the Darksaber. I could see them doing that, especially because they're currently playing with some of that stuff in Mandalorian. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but you know, we could see that dude who rode the Mythosaur. We could see a lot of cool things happening there. We know bits and pieces of his story, but we don't know everything. So in one of these two, I would like to see that if possible. But after that, we have the High Republic. This is where the Acolyte takes place. This is where the Jedi are at their full power. They're at the height of their power here. Um, I believe that potentially characters we know who are currently alive. I believe Palpatine might be alive during the High Republic era, but he's like little. He's like young. Um,
Yeah.
I believe Yoda definitely is alive
Mm.
during the High Republic portion. I believe Jabba the Hutt is also alive. So I'm just gonna pitch this because Del Toro's still out there. We could get that Hutt movie about Jabba like gaining his power.
Mm. Mm.
I'd love to see. Honestly, you can't get enough Del Toro, and I would really love to see just a whole movie of Hutts
Yeah.
because he made Pinocchio great, man. He can make anything work.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, I think
mm,
High Republic. Yeah, on is Palpatine alive at this point or not? The first thing that came to mind there is the Fantastic Beasts film, where it's like, oh yeah, no, this I think the second Fantastic Beasts film, or the first or the second, is set the year Voldemort is born. So it'd be funny if you had, in the High Republic, yeah. Reference to some events on Naboo. Like, oh yeah,
man, this is such
reminder,
a cute baby.
Palpatine's there now.
This is such a cute baby. What's his name? Oh, we think we're gonna call him Sheaf. Sheaf Palpatine. Dun dun dun. Kill him
Yeah,
now,
but no, we
Yoda.
will
Kill
have
him now.
Darth Plagueis, all these characters
Mm,
will be around at this point. So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Um, Again, it's just because now that we've moved forward from we have no clue what's happening at this point in the timeline, and now to
oops.
we know characters that are around. I think, funnily enough, Maz Kanata should be alive at this point
Mm,
as well. So we can start pulling together ideas. Okay, we know who the players are going to be. We know which of them are around at this point. I myself have not read any of the High Republic novels or anything. I have. This is possibly the point in the timeline I know least about, excluding the prehistory stuff, of
mm.
course. So no, this would be really interesting.
I'm right there with you. I know very little about the High Republic. The only thing I really know is the Acolyte is supposed to be like a mystery movie.
Yeah, like a Who Done
I,
It or something.
I want that. Star Wars
Mm.
mystery movie. All for that. Then we
Well,
have.
think
Mm,
of Clone Wars. Whenever there was this mystery, almost every episode of Clone Wars, they had so many different genres. And I think
oh yeah.
start giving us that with entire shows, entire movies. Again, Rogue One was pitched to us as this gritty, down to earth war movie.
Mm.
It wasn't quite that. Rogue One is still my favorite movie in the franchise. But yeah, give us more of these sort of genre pieces.
What's interesting to me is, since we have shows like Clone Wars and Bad Batch, do one of those back here. Do one of those in the High Republic. Do one of those in the Old Republic. You got this timeline for a reason. Give us like an animated show about one of these timelines. I think that would be really cool.
Hmm.
But speaking of
I
Clone Wars,
don't know when there's that new like kids animated show. I don't know when it's set. I think it might be High Republic.
I have no idea. I haven't even heard. Is there a new animated show coming?
It's like a directly targeted to kids thing.
Oh, that's why it's not on my. That's why I haven't heard of it. I can't wait to find out that there's extreme lore in that one day.
Yoda's in it. It follows like 3 new
Oh,
younglings.
I have seen the trailer for this actually. Not the
Yeah.
trailer, but I saw a poster. I'm pretty sure that just kind of takes place in the normal Star Wars timeline, but I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Could be wrong
No,
about
no, Yoda's wearing like white and gold robes. Is my only thing. So I'm like, could it be?
it.
Yeah. So at some point in his lifespan.
So, the Fall of the Jedi is the next area in the timeline, and this is where the prequels are. This is
Young Jedi Adventure. Gotcha.
okay. So this is where the prequels are. This is where Clone Wars is. We know this timeline well. This is the pre-Darth Vader timeline. Honestly, here's the thing, and I don't know if this is going to be a little controversial. I don't know if they should touch this as much anymore. Like, I like seeing it in time. I like seeing it in flashbacks, but to me, this part of the timeline is cool. You can do really cool stories with this. Like, God, I'm blanking on the name of this book, but there's one book with Quinlan Voss and, what's her name? Saj Ventress. There's
Dark Disciple?
Dark Disciple might be it. That might be correct. I think you're right. I've read that book, and it's fucking great. So there is really good stuff you can do from this timeline. But I feel like we've already gotten a lot of stories from the Fall of the Jedi area. Honestly,
Dark Disciple.
Honestly, if they are going to do more stories here, I would kind of like them to adapt some of those books. Or maybe do something with the Night Sisters a bit more. I've heard the Acolyte might have something to do with the Night Sisters, which, please. But that's the big thing I would want. Although, I just said I didn't want anything from here. But, look, I've wanted a Grievous origin movie for a long time now. I get it, some people don't like Grievous, but I've always loved Grievous's design, and I've always loved how cool he looks, so... And that one episode of Clone Wars where they made him a badass hunting down Kit Fisto. A whole movie of that would be really cool to me. But I get it if you don't want to touch Grievous anymore. He's kind of dead and gone. I understand it. You got anything for the Fall of the Jedi area?
Agreed. I love Grievous. I'm always up to seeing more of him. Night Sister stuff. I don't know about that just because
I'll fight you, Jack.
I think it'd be really interesting to see more of Night Sister stuff in eras before this. But in this, they pop up in Clone Wars. We sort of follow them for a good chunk of Clone Wars, just scattered throughout the series, up till, again, Grievous comes down and genocides the population. So, yeah, all the way up to them. Mother Talzin in that one Jar Jar episode in season 6. They are not one of my favorites, but I keep saying interesting, a very interesting part of the lore and everything. Star Wars, it's the Force, but it's more like magic and everything. That's so cool. And the dark and creepy sides of it, sort of necromancy and everything. It's brilliant.
Oh,
yeah, I'd like to see more Night Sister stuff. But I think, excluding Fallen Order and everything with that one character whose name I'm blanking on because I have not played Fallen Order either. But no, show us more of that.
I think her name is Marin.
Yeah. Show us more of that, perhaps. That can go all the way back to your Dawn of the Jedi stuff, this more mystical side of the Force.
That could be cool. Imagine if that's the bad guy of the first Jedi movie. Like the first
Mm,
Jedi has to fight the first Night Sister. That could be cool. That could be real
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And
The
plus,
things I want
I
to see
just
is
bitched
there.
about not wanting to see big empires anymore. A bunch of witches attacking Jedi? That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, things I want to see in this era. Clone Wars gave us a lot of it, but I'm always game for just more stories around the clones and the logistics and their lives, which is something again we didn't get much of, if at all, in the prequels. But then Clone Wars fleshed out. My God, Bad Batch is continuing to keep that going. I love
Jesus.
the clone characters. I love when we get new clone characters. I'd be on board for that. I
I'm
think
with you. I'm with you there. I love the clones.
I have my hopes for something we'll get into later, no doubt. Skeleton Crew around pirates. I love Hondo. Give me more Hondo. I don't care when it's set. Give me more Hondo.
I thought he was gonna pop up in Mandalorian because they kept talking about pirates, and I was like, "Bring in your pirate, Star Wars! Come on, bring in your big pirate." No Hondo yet. Fuck.
No, no, he'll be getting a start of Black Spire Outpost soon, relative to Mandalorian, I believe.
I mean, a Naka Star Wars story could be great. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would laugh if they just called it a Naka Star Wars story. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have the Reign of the Empire. Of course, this is when Andor takes place. Of course, it starts with Revenge of the Sith and it ends with Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I love this. I love the stories in this timeline. This might be my current favorite timeline. I gotta be real because we got Andor, we got Rogue One, we got Bad Batch, we got Jesus, Bad Batch right now is so
Rebels.
good. Yeah, we got Rebels, we got so much cool shit, and I would love to see more of it. Specifically, I want either this can be during Age of Rebellion, this can be Reign of the Empire. I don't care when this happens. Maybe do it in both. Maybe have it jump to both. I want a Captain Rex project. I want there to be a Rex
Mm.
show or a movie, and I want it to end. I literally want the show to end on Rex's view of the Battle of Endor. Like, I want that to be the ending, where they confirm 100%, because I know there are some fans who still argue about it. Yes, Rex was there.
Mm. I mean, we know for a fact he was there. That's said in the Rebels epilogue.
mm. Well, there are some people, like, it wasn't originally him. They kind of retcon that in. So there are some people who are like, no, it's not Rex, but like, let it be Rex. I just love, again, I'm right there with you. I love the clone characters. I love what they've been doing with Rex and Echo teaming up. Rex has been pretty good in Bad Batch so far. I want the guy to have his own project. Maybe have Ahsoka come in. We could do a story with both of them. I I just love Rex so much, and I feel like he could carry his own story. Maybe I'm in the minority on that, but I would love to see it.
I agree that Rex absolutely could carry his own story. I don't, and as much as I'd like to see it again, of course, like I said, more clone stuff. I don't think we need
Mm.
it. Again, it'd be fun. I did just double check because I'm like, it's Santa. It's something to do with Santa. That character's name, Nick Saint, um, was the guy who's been soft retconned into being Rex on Andor.
Mm.
But that, as far as I'm concerned, that Nick Saint doesn't exist anymore. That is Rex. Uh, I think I'm as much as I love what Mandalorian's doing right now. I'm gonna give this beginning of the New Republic era a bit more breathing room. We'll wait for Ahsoka to come out and see what more they do with all these shows and the Mandover.
Mm.
But no, I think for now I'm gonna agree with that. Reign of the Empire being my favorite era at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. Just because look at all the shit in it that's so good. But Age of Rebellion is, of course, the sequel trilogy area. This is.
Original trilogy.
Oh, yeah, my bad. That's what I meant. You know, the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's right here. Um, I can't really think of anything for this. I would love to see a like I know the Lando show is still coming,
Hmm.
and there were these comics where Lando is like recruited to rob a ship, and then the big plot twist reveal is, oh, this ship is owned by the Emperor. This is Emperor Palpatine's ship, and that story is fucking great. Lobot has a lot of character in it. Uh,
Hmm.
so I look forward to something with Lando. Besides Lando and my hopeful thing with Rex one day, um, I can't really think of anything I would want from the Age of Rebellion. But obviously, this is the sequel trilogy. Fuck, Neil, come on. The original trilogy. So, you see, the reason I keep saying it is sequels is because I started with the prequels, so I always kind of
Ah,
saw these as sequels. But
okay.
this is the original trilogy. So obviously they're going to keep pulling stuff from here. Like we're gonna get a ton of stuff set in the age of the rebellion.
Hmm. I'm trying to think other than the original trilogy film.
Mm.
Nothing comes to mind in terms of other live action or animated projects that are set during this period. I mean, there's the original holiday special. I think about it. Other than that, it is just comics and books, I think.
Yeah, the Star Wars comics are definitely set during this time, and I gotta tell you,
Hmm.
some of those are fucking sweet. The Darth Vader
Hmm.
comics specifically, whoo baby, they are good stories.
I think my favorite is Tag and Bink, I think.
Mm.
Is that their names? I forget what the series is called.
One of my favorite stories in it, and there are some more extreme things that happen. This is one of those like, here's a little slice of life in the Star Wars universe. Han and Luke lose a bunch of money, and they're worried that like Leia's gonna get pissed at them, so they actually go to a farm and have to like herd nerfs. Like they
Hmm.
actually become nerf herders for a day.
No, yeah, Tag and Bink were the titles I was thinking of. They're great fun.
Oh,
I
Tad and
wouldn't
Bink
want to
are
see a
great.
movie. I wouldn't want to see a movie about them though.
Well, Age of Rebellion is when Dr. Aphra's going to come in, I assume. That show's still
Hmm.
happening. And
I
I can't wait to see
Yeah.
her droids.
Hmm.
I
I completely forgot about Afra. Yeah.
I mean, it's happening. Eventually. I don't know if it's going to be in Age of Rebellion though. Like theoretically, the story could be what happened to Aphra after she left the Empire. Like what happened after everything happened with the Death Star and shit. I have no idea, but uh, I look forward to it nonetheless. I'm very excited for Aphra. Now we get to probably the most eventful thing, and we're going to talk a little bit about that last movie while we talk about this timeline. But the New Republic era. This is Mandalorian. This is Ahsoka. This is the current big Star Wars story that's running right now. That is the current timeline. I am kind of excited for the new announcement we got as well, which is Dave Filoni will be directing essentially a crossover movie, it's sounding like, between Ahsoka, between what's going on in Mando. Apparently, there had been mentions of potentially incorporating stuff from Bad Batch, Boba Fett stuff, which, by the way, when I hear the Bad Batch thing, that makes me go, oh, Omega's going to be in this. um, I love this era. We're doing good things here. I'm very excited for the future. I like that they keep pulling from it. Apparently, though, this movie, according to Dave Filoni, this is going to be the Rogue One of the New Republic era. It's going to lead directly into the rise of the First Order,
Yep.
which has me interested and a little concerned just because I'm like, wow, this is the ending of this era. We got to nail that.
Hmm.
But it seems like Thrawn's going to be the villain. So, who fucking knows, man?
Yeah. I think I am. I don't think I really have, aside from juggling bringing all these characters and stories together.
Mm,
I think as a setup for the sequel trilogy, I have complete faith in Filoni on this because
same. He's
that
earned
is
it.
more or less what he has spent in the background of Bad Batch and Mandalorian just setting up. It's, he has spent he's created these two shows and worked them together to be an excuse for that line, somehow Palpatine returns.
Which
So
is very
I
honorable.
trust him on this.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I'm excited. I want to talk more about this. Jack, I just thought of something, so we're going backwards for a minute. We're going all the way back to the Dawn of Jedi. We're going all the way back to the Old Republic. The Mortis gods. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, that's what my mind.
We can do shit with the Mortis gods again. God, do that.
I
Bring
mean,
them back.
if you buy into people reading too deep into the Ahsoka trailer, we might be getting some of them in the not distant future.
I mean, that Al is still with Ahsoka, so to
Or I,
me,
yeah.
they have plans for them somewhat. Like, maybe. I'm still excited by the idea. And of course, they touched on the Mortis gods in Rebels. The Mortis
Mm.
gods might be some of my favorite piece of Star Wars lore, just because we still know so little about them, but they do keep popping up. Like when they pop up, your eyebrows raised, you get ready, you're like, oh shit, we're doing more Mortis stuff. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
To the point where my cat is named after them. That was unintentional, but my cat is named Mortis. But yeah, so to go back to the New Republic just for a second, I really like stories from this era. I gotta admit, Mandalorian, I've fallen off a little. I still like Mandalorian. We'll talk more about that later. But all in all, very excited to see more stuff come from this era. The Rise of the First Order. Now, if we need an animated show anywhere, I think it's here. I would love to see like Bad Batch or Clone Wars style storytelling during the First Order because I want to see how they're different from the Empire. I want to see what characters are dealing with the First Order specifically because I think we all, like me specifically, I think you might also subscribe to this, maybe not. They're just kind of an Empire clone, right? There's not a ton of differences between the Empire and the First Order. They even use stormtroopers. They're kind of just the same dealio with different helmets. I would like to see their more clear differences, and I feel like an animated show where we can go through and see those differences and see the world of the First Order timeline would be great. I don't know who you make it about. Maybe you pull a Bad Batch and do some completely original characters. But I'd still love to see it. And who knows? Maybe there were survivors from Luke's Jedi school, potentially. Who knows? Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't.
Yeah, I think you should do an animated series in this era because the precedent currently set is there's the prequels, those exist, those didn't have the best reception at the time, and through time and people sitting with them and rewatching them and everything over the years, but also Clone Wars.
Mm.
Clone Wars, that one show, that 7 seasons, have almost completely rehabilitated that era's reputation.
Oh yeah, fixed it.
So
Really.
yeah, no, I think having an animated series, same as close to that same level of quality as possible, set in this era, will do it the world of good.
Mm. Well,
I don't have any ideas for what you could do, but do something. Try and fix this.
one of the coolest things about Star Wars is all the different planets, all the different cool places you can go. And the best thing about Clone Wars is they did that. They went to different planets, they did different stories you can tell with different alien races, they explored the Star Wars lore and created their own. That's what the sequel trilogy needs. The sequel trilogy really needs just a good show going through and telling us the state of the world at the time. And so far, like, honestly, I think every timeline of Star Wars could benefit from having a Clone Wars esque show, just because that's a really good chance to show off your timeline. But we've got one for the Fall of the Jedi. We've got one for the Reign of the Empire, the Age of the Rebellion. We technically have one for the First Order, right? Like, wasn't there that one show? Yeah, that.
I've not watched it.
Me neither. I know nothing about it. Well, I do know one thing about it. The animation looks bad.
I'm yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the design in what I've seen of Resistance. I know that it is being tied in more with so I do need to watch it before Ahsoka comes out.
Oh, it's gonna be in Ahsoka? I guess.
No, apparently like a character in Resistance's dad is gonna be in Ahsoka apparently. So okay, I'll watch it just so I can tick that box and potentially enjoy it. I'm saying all this going purely off screenshots and a trailer that I watched years ago, so I don't know. I might enjoy it.
Well, speaking of Rise of the First Order, well, actually, first, let's just finish off the timeline. The New Jedi Order. This is post-sequel trilogy. I believe this is when Rey is restarting the Jedi, which this could be cool, as talked about a little bit earlier. I don't know if that's the most interesting thing. I think this timeline, ironically, could also use an animated series to show off the world. Just give them all one.
We can't say give every era.
I will say it. Give
the
them all one.
Part of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I love Rogue One. I'm not gonna say give every era a Rogue One.
I mean, you say that, but like, that movie with Filoni is technically the fucking Reign of the Empire, the Age of the Rebellion. Fuck, the New Republic, that one. It is technically their Rogue One. That's gonna be the ending. So, they are getting a Rogue One.
Sure.
I think the reason I'm like, so give this an animated series is I think what I'm actually saying is give this a show where we can go planet to planet and explore the world. Like, give it something where it's not just one character in one place, where it's like characters going across the galaxy looking at cool stuff. Because I want to see the differences again. I would like to see why this timeline deserves its own spot. Why it isn't just part of the Rise of the First Order timeline. I want to see what they do with it. And Rey is a good start, but I would like to see characters like Poe come back. I would love to see Rose get her own thing. I'm looking forward to this timeline because it is currently the only one that is not a prequel now.
Sure.
But I will also mention that, like, Bad Batch as well, but Andor specifically, I feel like destroyed that myth of like, man, prequels are bad because you know what's gonna happen all the time. Like, we know the fates of these characters. Now, Andor just hit that myth with a sledgehammer and said, fuck you.
Agreed, but also I think that was hit by, even just within Star Wars, that was hit with a big enough sledgehammer with Season 7 of Clone Wars, because Rebels was already well underway, if not finished, by the time we got the final season of Clone Wars. So we knew Ahsoka was going to survive. We knew Rex was going to survive. We knew all that going into Season 7 of Clone Wars, and it still makes you cry at the finale.
Yes, it does. I agree, but I feel like if anybody still had that criticism, Andor was like, fuck you, you're wrong. Fuck you, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I very much look forward to this timeline being played with a lot. I look forward to it growing even, because, like, you know, eventually, after Rey gets her trilogy of movies, probably, there's gonna be another one, maybe. And honestly, I love that it's all here and we can see it. Like, Marvel has phases, Star Wars has timelines, and I'm glad they made this image.
Yeah, on the Marvel comparison though, my big hope for this is again having it laid out like this. Star Wars is great. I mean, Star Wars is great in that it has, we have the calendar, we have the timeline, everything,
Mm.
BBY, ABY. We have specific years that everything takes place in. Great, stick to that. Don't let it get confusing like Marvel. They're like, oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 take place a month apart or something like that. They come out years apart. And things being weird with the continuity flub at the start of Homecoming.
Mm. I
Keep it clear and consistent, because even now you still have in Marvel Phase 4. Okay, so this happens after WandaVision, but this happens before Multiverse of Madness. But this was filmed and meant to be before No Way Home, and COVID messed with that. But still, keep it clear and consistent, because Star Wars fans are so much more picky with things than Marvel tends to be in the MCU.
Doctor Strange will always confuse me timeline-wise because, like, the movie, like, jumps around in its own timeline so he can study at Kamar-Taj. So, Disney Plus only counts the ending. Like, they're like, oh, well, it ends with him being a bit in the future, so clearly this is the movie that takes place right before Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War. And I'm like, what? No, it doesn't. That's too early. That's impossible. There's no way Doctor Strange learned how to do all that shit in between Civil War and Thor Ragnarok. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
I'm glad this timeline is here. Plus, something I like about Star Wars that, of course, you can get this from other stories, but something about Star Wars that is so interesting to me is you have these main stories, but within them, you also have mini character stories that span all around this timeline. Like, Saw Gerrera's introduction is in Clone Wars. He shows up in Bad Batch a couple times. He's in the Star Wars video game. And he ends in Rogue One. So theoretically, if somebody wanted to, they could cut together all of Saul's episodes as one big Saul Gerrera project. And I love that you can do that with Ahsoka. I love that you can do that with Rex. I love that there are so many characters that their stories just keep going through this timeline. And I can't wait to see that with Yoda. Can't wait to see that with Poe and Rose. Very excited for this.
It's what makes Star Wars sort of stand out a bit. Is it's a big galaxy and it feels very alive. It's very lived in, with all these characters going about their own stories and occasionally bumping into one another. But yeah,
I love it when it's a surprise too. Like, we're gonna go into talking about Bad Batch in just a minute, but when Saw Gerrera popped up, I literally yelled, "Saw Gerrera? He's here!" Like, there are characters I recognize, and when they pop up, I'm like, "Oh shit, we're doing stuff here. All right." I really hope that starts happening with Luthen. I want to see Luthen pop up all over this timeline.
oh, that'd be brilliant.
I mean,
Well, not necessarily all over. I don't think he's gonna last particularly far.
hey Luthen, what were you doing during the prequels? Well, I was 6. I was still fighting for the rebellion. The rebellion wasn't a thing yet. The Empire wasn't a thing yet. I was fighting someone.
I was rebelling against my parents.
What did you sacrifice to rebel against your parents? Everything. Everything. They took my rocking horse. They took my toys. They took my cell phone. Everything. God, that's such a good scene.
No, his monologue there is brilliant.
Ooh, can't wait for Andor talks. But we can't talk about any of that yet because there's still one more thing that came out from the Star Wars announcement that we haven't touched yet. The Ahsoka trailer.
Skeleton Crew. Oh, okay.
Oh. Well, we can talk about Skeleton Crew real quick.
I don't know much about Skeleton Crew.
It looks like Space
Ahsoka.
Goonies. It looks like the only thing I'll say about Skeleton Crew is I'm wondering if this is Disney's answer to Stranger Things, because it's kids in the Star Wars universe with Jude Law guiding them. If they do this right, it will be like Stranger Things and Goonies. If they do this wrong, it'll be like a Disney sitcom. I really don't need to see that. But a Stranger Things-esque Star Wars story, not what I would have expected. Kind of want it, not gonna lie.
I would be down for a Star Wars sitcom. Just want to put that out there. I'd be down for a good Star Wars sitcom at
I
some point.
I would also be down for a good Star Wars sitcom.
That is a caveat, yeah.
Do I want the sweet life of Yoda and Obi-Wan? No, I don't.
Yodi and Kenobi.
God damn, don't make me want this. Don't make me want Yodi and Kenobi. Oh god, but Ahsoka. That trailer looked sick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, just seeing, like, I know Zeb popped up in Mando, but just seeing Sabine, seeing Hera, seeing Chopper. This is, like, I remember back when Rebels came out and everyone was like, oh yeah, this is so cool. Ahsoka's in the show. And that's dope. This big character has popped up in this smaller show. Well, now those smaller characters are showing up in her show. They're going to be the leads of this story. I really hope Sabine is, like, in it a lot. I love Hera. Hera Syndulla has become one of my favorite Star Wars characters. So, love there's more Hera in here. And by the way, the fact that they just showed Thrawn from behind. Ooh. I'm excited.
And they kept the suspense for a whole day of, is it Lars? Is it? Yeah. Wow.
I am pumped for Ahsoka. The orange blades, those lightsabers. Did you notice the hilts?
Yeah.
They look old.
Mm.
They aren't current lightsabers. So I wonder, I know the new Star Wars video game is apparently going to play with, like, oh, he discovered, like, a pod in somebody in, like, hypersleep. And it's like a past Jedi or a past Sith will be the main villain of that game. So I wonder if something similar is happening here. They have orange lightsabers. Those are not red. Those are orange. So what the fuck are they? Are they grays? I don't know. Like, I hate to be the boy who called gray, but...
Well, the Temple Guard just had yellow lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the idea floated that, like, Ahsoka's lightsabers are white because they're purified, previously bled red lightsabers. So maybe they attempted to do the same thing, but didn't quite get it right. So they were once Sith sabers. Now I don't know. I don't think we will until the show comes out.
I mean, I think they just look badass. Like, specifically that woman who was mostly wearing white and had, like, white hair. What's her story? I gotta know. Her design is cool. Her costume is cool. She's got an orange lightsaber. Sorry, just whenever you give, like, a new character a lightsaber we don't see that often, that's immediately, like, you're cool to me. Like, imagine if we had, like, a white lightsaber with just a little bit of red at the core. That shit would be dope. I want that.
No, I think I'm going to bring it up. At the end of Rise of Skywalker, when Rey ignites her saber and it's yellow, okay, cool. For the action figures was my thought.
Yeah,
Here,
Rey is the
what
exception.
is going on? I don't know if that's just the framing of, like, if at the very end of the Ahsoka show, Ahsoka ignites her lightsaber and, it's orange now. Cool. It might just be because that's the last thing and there's nothing you do with it. I mean, they will do now. The sequel to the sequels coming out with Rey. We'll see her using her saber more. But here, because now we know this is the thing going in, it's okay, cool. There's a mystery. We want to know what's happening. Explain it. I think it is just that basic framing of, we know this going in, we want to see what happens, versus here's a meaningless bookend.
Well, what I love is also to move past the villains for just a second, Hera is in this trailer a lot. Like, you see Hera in the trailer a ton. You see Chopper and the ship in this trailer a ton, which leads me. Once again, trailers can be deceiving, but leads me to wonder, are the Rebels characters just all up in this show? Like, is it not going to be like just one episode where it's like, hi, we're the cameo for this particular Star Wars season, and then we're going to fuck off. We're going to go wherever Cad Bane went when he died. God, Cad Bane needs
No,
his own show.
I expect them to be the Bo-Katan of this show that Mando's had this season. Not the main character, but sort of a side group, or perhaps the Armor and Paz Vizsla might be a better comparison. I don't think they'll be as focal as Bo has been this season. But no, I expect it to be a good chunk of episodes. They're the supporting cast of this show.
Which I really hope for, because when I heard Sabine was going to be in it, I thought, oh, Sabine's going to be the co-star, and then maybe we'll get one episode where we do stuff with the other Rebels characters. But fucking Zeb popped up in Mando. Why would you make that CGI thing if you're not going to use it? I think Zeb's going to pop up in this show too. In fact, I think we're going to... Obviously, the main goal appears to be let's find Ezra, at least for Sabine. The main goal for Ahsoka seems to be let's kill Admiral Thrawn. But I'm hyped, dude. Like, that trailer really sold me. Like, I think I said forever ago, this show's gonna live and die on how cool they make that trailer. And we have so many questions now, like, who are these new mysterious villains? What role do they play in what's happening with Thrawn? We also don't know how Thrawn survived. What happened to Thrawn after the Purrgil?
Yep.
This show went from me being like, yeah, I'll see it, to holy fuck. In one trailer. And this might be a little lame to say, but like, I'm less excited for the Ahsoka stuff and more excited for these new villains and the Rebel stuff. But that being said, I have no problems with Ahsoka as a character. I look forward to seeing what happens with her. I've always said, God, I am becoming the guy who called Grey, but I've always said that Ahsoka, or maybe even Rey, should become Grey Jedi, because Ahsoka specifically, she just straight up left the Order. Like, she left the Order. She's kind of been on her own for a little bit. Her master was Darth Vader. Like, if any Jedi in the current canon is gonna become a Grey Jedi, it's either Rey, because she spent so much time with Kylo and did so much, like, she did dabble in the dark side just a little, or Ahsoka. And I would love to see that played with. But wanting the Greys more involved has kind of been something I've wanted from Star Wars for a long time. Because we know they exist. The Bendu confirms they exist. So I would love to see more. Anything else to add about the Ahsoka trailer?
Again, I'm very excited for all these Rebels. I'm more excited for the return of the Rebels characters than I am for these new, seemingly antagonists. I am counting Thrawn among the Rebels characters, by the way. I think not my only concern, but my biggest concern going into this show is Ahsoka is your title character. So she needs like a character arc in the show. It can't be, my arc is chasing down Thrawn. She still needs to give her something to develop with, something to chew on as a character in this show. Which, I mean, Ahsoka is great. Her arc has been fantastic the whole way up to this point. My only worry is, what more is there you can do with her? Addressing the Jedi in the room? Yeah. Go for it. Looking forward to it. Anything more than that, but that needs to be done well.
I'm wondering if that's what the new villains are there for. Like, I wonder, since they are clearly Force users as well. And I have heard a rumor that, this is a rumor, not confirmed, I have heard that Barriss might be in this show.
Ooh,
which
okay.
could be dope. If you don't know who Barris is, watchers of this video, the episode where Ahsoka leaves the Jedi, the reason she leaves is because she was like accused of murdering somebody who was actually
She was
killed by
framed for
Barris.
bombing the temple.
Oh yeah. Well, also there was like a murder involved or something. I believe the person who actually bombed the temple was murdered by Barris because Barris like orchestrated the whole thing. I don't know. I don't remember. But she could act as like Ahsoka's like nemesis if she comes back because they started off as friends and now she's a villain. If she's still alive, Barris could serve to fulfill that arc. But once again, just a rumor, not confirmed. I think it was mentioned that maybe there are Funkos coming of Barris, and people think maybe that's connected. Uh, I'd love to see Barris. I think that would be cool. But I think that these new Force users might tie into Ahsoka's arc. Because, you know, she's still kind of in that in between. She's not really a Jedi anymore, but she's still a Force user that goes out. Like, I don't know if she still follows the Jedi ways, you know? Like, she even said, I'm no Jedi to Mando. I'm not really a Jedi Master. Her and Luke don't seem to be, like, on the same path. If that's, like, Luke is, like, Jedi through and through. Ahsoka is, like, I use the Force and I have a lightsaber, but, like, I'm not in your temple, Luke. I'm not doing this
Yeah.
stuff. Uh, I think maybe
Outside
they'll play
stuff.
with that a little.
Yeah. And then I do, on the Barris note, I don't think this is Barris, but there is that Inquisitor we see in the trailer.
Mm.
His
There is an
helmet is
Inquisitor.
very the helmet is similar to the Eighth Brother, but it is more slimline, and I prefer the Eighth Brother just dying as he did there.
Mm.
We don't see a body, but I like the idea that he died trying to fly with the blade and it just breaking and he falls
Yeah,
to his death.
I've always loved that. I mean, here's the thing.
We didn't.
Whoever could that be the last Inquisitor? Because this is like we're in New Republic timeline now, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like
Empire's gone.
this show is going to be building towards the end of the New Republic era. So, hello, car. Thank you for existing. Uh, the show seems like it's going to be building towards the New Republic era. So, the end of
Towards
it.
the end of
Yeah, yeah,
Republic
yeah.
era.
So, my question is who the fuck is that guy? How has he lived this long? Because they're all supposed to be dead by then. Except for the one from, what's it called? Obi-Wan. I can't remember her name, but I think she just kind of fucked off.
Oh yeah, Reva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Reva could potentially pop up in the show just because, from what I gathered, Reva just kind of went off to go live a normal life. But maybe there will be another Obi-Wan season one day, and maybe we'll find out about Reva. That'd
Right.
be neat. But yeah, the Ahsoka trailer looks fucking boss. I'm so excited, and I'm just gonna say it. Star Wars is fucking back, dude. Like, Marvel has taken a couple hits. Maybe we'll see if it can recover here and there. But like, God, Star Wars is on a winning streak. Andor, Bad Batch, Mando. I'm a little shaky on, but it's still good. It's not bad. It's not a bad show. Don't kill me. Don't kill me, internet. But God, Star Wars is kind of having a new renaissance here. Like, which one do you want to talk about first? Andor, Bad Batch, or Mando? I'll let you pick.
Before we do, just to finish on this Ahsoka trailer, we kept going to this bit of looking at the timeline. Rian, I think is how you pronounce it. I forget, but the David Tennant droid at the end of the
Oh, yeah,
trailer,
you're right.
he's one of those characters that now, okay, we have a live action prop for now. He can pop up through all these shows. Because he's been around before Yoda. He taught Yoda how to make his lightsaber. That's how long he's been around. He can be in this. I think you could potentially have him be built in this Dawn of the Jedi series, film, whatever it's going to be.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It has been announced what it's going to be. I'm just forgetting. You can have. I think he might. He's probably a bit Ship of Theseus at this point if he's that old. But no, that's a character we can have throughout. Give more David Tennant's never a bad thing.
Well, doesn't he get decapitated in his first episode of Clone Wars? Like, doesn't his head get cut off or something, and he's just a head for some of it?
Quite possibly, actually, yeah.
That might have been a different droid. I might be misremembering, but I remember him being just a head. So I think you're very nail on the head with Ship of Theseus. I think the personality of this droid has probably been around for a really long time.
Mm.
But that body has to have been changed a number of times. But...
Oh, okay. I've opened the Wikipedia just to check. Like, yeah, what happened? He is apparently mentioned by name in a couple High Republic books. So he's at least that far back currently.
Mm-hmm. He could be Old Republic. I don't know if he's Dawn of Jedi. It'd be fucking awesome if he was.
Dawn of Jedi probably a bit much.
It'd be fucking awesome if he was, though. Old Republic, High Republic is where I would guess. But you're right. We could see that character pop up anywhere. Hell, if they do a young Yoda thing where we meet Yoda's master, that could be cool for him to be Yoda's droid. Like, buddy, you know? Everybody gets a droid buddy.
I think I'm fine with, like, meeting, like, the Yoda's master. I do... It's something I like they've done with Mandalorian. I like them keeping a mystery to Yoda's species and story and history. I don't want to meet Yoda's family. I don't necessarily... I'd like to see his planet. I don't need to know the name of his species. Things like that. Not everything in Star Wars should be explained, I think.
Hear me out. Star Wars Holiday Special 2, Yoda and the Family.
Star Wars Holiday Special 2, Electric Grogu. Grogaloo.
Grogaloo. Ah, yes, Uncle Grogaloo. Welcome to the Life Day Festival. Now we see how Yoda's species celebrates Life Day. Oh, God. And then the third one can be about Jar Jar and the Gungans. We can meet Jar Jar's dad. Put that on the poster. Star Wars Holiday Special 3. The one where Jar Jar's dad shows up. Ay. But let's go into the beautiful Star Wars shows we got going on right now. Like, these aren't going to be full reviews. I assume we'll probably mention some episodes specifically by name. But overall, this is just going to be thoughts and feelings on current Star Wars. My thoughts and feelings on Andor are that show is fucking sick and probably the best thing in the Star Wars timeline. I know that's a big statement. I don't care. I think it is.
Yeah. No, I have moments I love. Thinking about the show, there are arcs in Clone Wars that are amazing. Umbara, person that comes to mind. Not Siege of Mandalore, but the fight at the end of Mandalore. But the prison arc in Andor is phenomenal.
It's art. The show is fucking art. Like, the moment I realized, oh, this show is going to be something special, the first 3 episodes, I'm weirdly going to insult Andor for a minute. The first 3 episodes are good. They're not great. They're very good. They're very fun episodes. They're gripping storylines. They're fine. They're great. They're good. But when you get to the second arc, and the first couple episodes of that are pretty good. They're pretty okay. You're learning about these rebels who are going to break into this prison. Was it a prison? It was some sort of Empire place. They're going to break in. They're going to steal this gold. The final episode of that arc for me, where they actually break in, and you see the rebels holding the Empire at gunpoint, and you can't really tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys with how like
Mm.
extreme they're being. But when that one guy gets crushed and there are these people who are native to the planet and they're doing their like tribal thing for a holiday and it's so cool, and the visuals of the sky doing all of these cool visuals, I was like, okay, the show's gonna be special. And then they do the prison arc, which is, God, I oh my God, I've said this before, and I feel like I'm gonna keep saying it, but this is the first time I get to say about him in live action. Andy Serkis is one of the best fucking actors out there. Just phenomenal in this show. I can't believe how good that prison arc was. The repetition of it, of him going in and fixing it. When that guy dies and the doctor straight up says, no, there is no getting out. You go to a different prison. And you slowly see Andy Serkis go from resigned to his fate to, we're going to get out of here. We're going to go. And God, the iconic sayings, like, Jesus. Oh my God. You talk about it, because I need to find the words.
Yeah, well, you think. I agree. For first 3 episodes, I get which they dropped the first 3 all at once, didn't they? I think.
Yeah.
That was on day one. Was here's the first arc,
Which I think was the smartest way to do it.
Wow. Yeah, they basically were like, here's the movie. Here's the first Andor movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed them. I liked all the world building, and again, they built this whole village around Rick's Road and everything to film in. Fantastic. But no, I wasn't sold until episode 6 that I was enjoying it, but the moment I realized that this was going to be something special was Nemec. Not his death, but him sustaining that injury of just the cargo just crushing him. I was like, oh, we're losing people in just. It felt so real, the way that people were dying. Like, again, the rest of the team is just getting gunned down unceremoniously in that like fight before they leave, and then yet the eye itself is beautiful, and them escaping through it and flying up that way.
Him just yelling in this raspy, pained voice, "Climb!" Oh God, that show!
I cannot wait.
That show!
No. He's told that because so climb is the last word that K2 says to Cassian in Rogue One.
I know.
And that throughout this whole thing, that is some of the last words that characters are telling him this whole time is climb, get up there, keep going, keep going.
I'm tearing up thinking about the show. You know it's good when you're tearing up thinking about the show.
No. To the point that when we then got to episode 10, I was in it. I was sat there in the living room watching the TV, no one else in the house, chanting with everyone else in the show. One way out. One way.
Oh God.
It was so good. It's such a gut punch.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Serkis's face when he almost laughed saying it. I can't swim.
Mm-hmm. You laugh, but it's heartbreaking. It's that moment of, oh yeah, everyone's getting out. Not him. He's not getting out. He has to stay. And whatever's going to happen to him, he's the one who made this happen. He's the one who made them get out of there. His speech is the reason they all rose up. And he's not getting out. It's such a... Oh my God, it's so heartbreaking and beautiful. Star Wars, man!
Did he get out?
I don't know.
I think... I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I never want to see his character again.
Okay, look, I agree with you and disagree with you, because here's the thing. I agree. It's very climactic. It's very anticlimactic in a weirdly satisfying way to not know what happened to him. That being said, if one scene in Andor Season 2 is Andor is, like, kidnapped by the Empire or something, and he comes back up, you won't hear me complain about it.
Oh
Because
no.
I I trust these writers implicitly now. Like the fact that they told a story like God, I'm setting myself up for failure saying this, but I'm going to say this. This is Star Wars' Game of Thrones. So the point where like if something weird happened in Game of Thrones early on, you kind of trust it and you want to see where it goes. I have that with Andor right now, where if he does pop up again, I'm like, what are you going to do with him? I gotta know.
Sure, sure. But for the time being,
Mm-hmm.
my assumption, my thought is just again of how realistic a lot of the deaths in the show were. It's it's in my head and it's dark. But my thought is that he is pushed off when everyone's shoving and everything and jumping off, and he just drowns.
I wonder.
That's what I take.
I,
That's what I take it
I
to be.
really wonder because that could have happened. Maybe he jumped to see if he could do it. Or if he didn't jump, he's the only one still on there when the Empire comes back.
He's the only one on there, along with all the guards who
Oh,
are
yeah.
still on there.
Who
Well,
are pissed at him because he's the one who led the uprising.
yeah, yeah. But that's just one arc in this entire show.
Mm-hmm. And it's so good because, like, okay, I know I kind of coasted over it, but the first arc is good. I don't want to underestimate that. They set up so much good stuff in that, like the stuff with Banks, the droid. By the way, that droid has become one of my favorite droids. Him being portrayed as a bit of a screw up, but he's not a bad guy. He wants to get his mom out of there. He's got friends there he cares about. And when that comes back in the final arc, it's always a gut punch. Because you see that friend, I can't remember his friend's name, but you see him take care of the droid, and it's so sweet. And he's doing most of the preparations for the funeral. And when, oh God, the scene with the brick. Oh my
Mm.
God. Even in death, she got one more hit on the Empire. It's so poetic and beautiful. Her speech at the end, it's great. Oh, this show.
Yeah, yeah.
I I'm right there with you when they're all yelling one way out. I was cheering, I was rooting for them. You feel it. And the reveal that they've been working on the Death Star this whole time. That show does things that are so poetic and so beautiful. Honestly, it feels like an insult to current storytelling because it's like, hey, look at how good we are. Look at how
Yeah.
poetic every episode and scene is. What's your excuse, other Star Wars content? Like, I loved Obi-Wan, but like when you watch Andor and then you watch Obi-Wan, there is definitely a part of me that's like, could be watching Andor right now.
Yeah, yeah. And as you're saying, I rewatched the finale several times over.
Mm-hmm.
Andor was fantastic. Yeah. Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars film.
Mm-hmm.
Andor, there's Clone Wars. And Andor is possibly my favorite TV show, yeah.
I look. I started to say, "Oh wow, this is the best TV out right now," but then towards the end, I was like, "This is the best Star Wars thing," and I'm not even saying that as like, "Oh, I love it." My opinion is this is the best Star Wars thing. I still have nostalgic ties to Revenge of the Sith. Rogue One will always be my favorite Star Wars movie, tied with Revenge of the Sith because I love them so much. I think objectively, like if we're just looking at the facts, Andor is probably the best Star Wars thing. Because the
Sure.
storytelling is so gorgeous. I wonder if he's ever gonna find his sister, or if literally the plot point there is going to be, no, he didn't find her. He didn't achieve that goal. The rebellion became more important. His sister's out there in the world. Maybe one day we'll see her. He didn't find her.
Yeah.
And in a show like this, that's a satisfying ending. Like just what you were saying about like, oh well, if if fucking Andy Serkis's character is dead, that's still
You know.
satisfying because he
Yeah.
got everybody out. That's such a tragically perfect ending for that character. He succeeded, but he didn't get to live his life. And speaking of characters who didn't get to live their lives, Luthen. Motherfucking Luthen. one of the deepest characters to ever be introduced into Star Wars. Loved his scene with Saul. Loved his scene with that girl who works in his shop. Loved every scene in the show with Mothma, which, by the way, what a way to do a story with that character, too. Like, Jesus Christ, we're learning about, like, the upper class of the Star Wars universe and how it's not all good for them, too.
Yeah. And you just have to bear in mind as well, Genevieve O'Reilly in this role, she was in a deleted scene from episode 3.
Mm-hmm. God.
And it's got all this.
I love the show. I love the show. Continue.
Yeah. No, when you get in Andy Serkis, when you get in Stella. Stella? No. Is it Stella? Skarsgård, or is that somewhere else? Is that another one of the family?
His last name is Skarsgård, but I can't remember which one he is.
When you get the elder Skarsgård, it's a certain caliber of actor.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them these really juicy roles. Yeah. And again, Diego Luna is doing fantastic as Cassian as well.
Look, I know we are not the first to praise this. Everybody is praising this.
We are very late.
Mm-hmm. But when he is on the bridge and he's talking to this guy who's like, listen, I have a kid. I need to get out of this. I need to be done with this. And he's like, you're not getting out of this. You need to stick with this. And the guy's like, what did you give up? And he says, I am fighting for a future I don't even get to see. I am forced to use the weapons of my enemies in order to try and defeat them. What have I given up? And he screams everything. You feel it. It hurts. The moment sticks with you. I didn't look up that dialogue. I just remembered because to me, that's an iconic fucking scene. And, oh my God, his acting. It's just next level. Like, you see him, like, act all nice when he's being secrecy in his shop, when he's like, oh, hi, welcome, look at this item. But when you see real Luthen and just how dead inside he is, sweet, merciful God, give these guys a Marvel show. Like, if Secret Wars is half as good as this show. Half.
Oh, I forget if it's episode 3 or episode 4 that we see it with Luthen. Oh, he's on his ship, and then he goes to the lead compartment to get changed and everything. But no. Unlike a lot of sort of undercover double life stories, this is the real Luthen. Is of course the one that we're seeing. But no, he's wearing a wig. He's on his way back. He practices standing. He practices his mannerisms and his smile and everything to keep up appearances in this way. And just a little thing of he puts on a wig for his public-facing persona. It's great because it's usually, disguise myself. No, that is his disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Even Bruce Wayne and Batman, he wears a mask. Bruce Wayne is Batman's mask. But yeah, he literally puts on a mask for Batman. He literally puts on the wig for that persona. Great. And the production value for Andor is great. They use the volume a bit, but it's mostly location stuff.
It looks great. If they use the volume like a large amount, I didn't notice, and I think that's good.
All the exterior stuff in Aldani was shot in the Scottish Highlands. Again, they built a sizable chunk of
the prison looks built.
Marva's home planet, yeah.
There's so much to talk about with Andor, really. Again, it's an incredible show. If you haven't seen it, we just spoiled it for you. But just like all good content, it's still good. Like, you can know the spoilers going in, and it's an incredible show. And
it's better without knowing, of course.
Honestly, I would love to see this team just make a show about every Rogue One character. Like, imagine, like, I didn't even want this. I wanted a show about Chirrut and Baze, but what if we got a show about Brody and we had a show like taking place during the construction of the Death Star, and you could have like Urso show up in it, You could have, Galen or so. You could have Krennic be in it. You could do this kind of storytelling with those characters too. And once again, even though we know what happens to Andor, it doesn't matter because there's still plenty of characters we don't know the fate of. Like I'm so curious what's gonna happen with that one woman who's like an agent of Luthen. The one who like trained with Andor at first, like the one who led the mission to go to the
Battle,
Empire base.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen with her. I'm curious what's going to happen with Binks because her mind is altered at this point now. And ironically enough, I just want that little droid to live a good life. That poor little droid has been through so much now. And we know he's not going to make it to Rogue One because he's not in Rogue One. So hopefully he just went to some planet and he's just fucking off there and having a great life. That's my hope. Well, we talked about a really good show, so let's transition into something shitty. Let's talk about Bad Batch. Holy shit, Bad Batch is great, right?
Yeah. Well, Bad Batch has really high highs, is what I'll say. The whole package of season 2, but it has some really fucking high highs.
I would say even the low lows are like still interesting. Like, for example, I would say that the Gunji episode was just kind of all right. It was okay. I still loved it. I still loved having a episode on Kashyyyk, hanging out, learning how the Wookiees see the Force. I really love stuff like that. Okay, that race episode was a little weird, but I still liked seeing like the crime world of the Star Wars stuff. Like I love that big guy. He was so intimidating.
Yeah.
I really liked, what is the planet the Bad Batch retired to towards the end? I can't remember what it's called, but I know it's like this island planet that looks so beautiful. It was so well animated. I hope they spend some more time there. I hope they go back. Their plan was to retire there, so I assume at this point they have like a house there they'll probably go back to eventually. Well,
They're going
some
to
of
have
them.
to go back, I reckon, because they're going to have to tell P what happened to Tech.
Yeah, so where do you weigh in on this? Because
Abu is the planet.
Where do you weigh in on this? Because my brother does not think Tech is dead. My brother thinks Tech is coming back. I think he might be dead. I think legit Tech might not be coming back. Oh, dude, I feel you. Tech's my favorite member of the Bad Batch.
I think he's dead.
I think he's dead too. And it breaks my heart because the episode where I said this in season 1 where I was like, Echo and Tech kind of keep overshadowing each other. Like it feels like they're very similar characters in what they can do. So I like that there was a point where they're like, oh, let's take Echo out for a little bit and let's focus more on Tech. Tech talks about Crosshair. He talks about like how he misses Echo. He talks about how even though I don't talk about my feelings a ton, just know I'm still feeling them. He really becomes more of a parental figure to Echo. Echo. Omega. Sorry. Names. And that would be really funny. Hello, other grown man who looks exactly like me. You are my child now.
Yeah. Hi, younger big sister.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I really loved Omega in this. I feel like she's becoming her own. She doesn't get captured much at all in this season, which I thought was a big improvement. In fact, the Bad Batch gets captured at one point and she tries to save them, which actually gets her captured. But, she still tried. You can't, like, when your family's in danger, you do irrational stuff. I can understand why a kid would think she could take out a whole army.
Yeah, of course.
But, like, did you have any episodes where you think these are the highlights? Because the one where they're trapped in the cave was really good. I really... Tech's Swan Song was great.
There are those episodes. I'm going to restate. It was a bit of a meme. Or halfway through the season. How to tell if an episode of Bad Batch is good this season? It's Crosshair in it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, yeah. The Crosshair ones are fantastic.
The
But on,
crosshair
on
ones
the
are highlights.
on the rest of the batch, uh, the first two were fun. Again, they were all good episodes. I think there weren't any bad ones. But stands out with the actual batch. I did like this whole season. While I still got him here. This whole season, I've been going. That's a death flag. That's a death flag. That's a death flag for Tech. See, and him sort of not even getting to build much of a relationship. It was cut very short.
Mm.
For her obvious interest in him and him not not being awkward, but just genuinely not knowing how to handle this situation and what he's meant to do. Right, and I love that characterization for him. Again, as you said, making him clearly distinct from Echo.
Mm.
They're both the Tech guys. But Tech got so much development this season.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, they keep building him up so that it's gonna hurt when he dies. And sure enough, yeah, yeah. In terms of him being dead, I think, is he dead and will we see him again? I have different answers for.
Mm.
I think yes, he's dead, but the direction I think Hemlock experiments are going is absolutely to the V1 Dark Troopers. Oh,
Oh.
these are cyborgs I've made from the corpses of clones. Well, not exactly corpses, but zombified clones, basically drugged up, stripped of free will and whatnot beyond what the inhibitor chips have already done. I think that's definitely the direction they're going. They're bringing in all these clones from across the galaxy to his facility. He's talking to Tarkin, trying to get him to give him the go-ahead on this. Oh, that doesn't seem like the clones would be in favor of that. It doesn't matter, they're Imperial property. I feel like that is absolutely the way this is going, and him giving Hunter the goggles and being like, oh, this is all I could recover. But no, you recovered. The goggles weren't the only thing you found. You found his body.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was perhaps where how Omega was going to find Crosshair, was they'd get there and it'd be too late for him. But I think they'll get out with Crosshair, and if we do see Tech again, I think it's tragically going to be in that sort of capacity.
Well, part of me wonders. Okay, that was a hell of a fall, and Tech doesn't have super strength like Wrecker does. So
Oh,
if he somehow lived, immediately that's shenanigans. However, Tech does still have Tech, so who knows? Maybe he could do a grapple hook thing. Maybe he just got incredibly injured. I don't know. But I do think you're right. If he's alive, they have him in that clone facility, and they're gonna fuck him up. If he's dead, he's still potentially in that clone facility. And also, that's something to think about too, because of course the Bad Batch were made of like, the bad particle stuff. They were made out of slightly different stuff from the rest of the clones. Now that guy
altered
has Tech's
or
body.
specific. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wonder if this means next season, because they also have Crosshair, of course, we could see super powered bad clones, which I think would be really cool.
Mm.
I don't know if that will happen, but I like that the door is open. I like that there's potential for that.
The door is open. There's potential for that. I don't think there will, just because. I mean, these clones already have accelerated aging,
Mm.
but if you're starting to make new clones now. I don't think you've got much of a timeline for that.
Well, the Bad Batch
We,
doesn't have accelerated aging, though, do they? I don't think
they
they
do.
do. Oh, they do.
Omega and Boba Fett are the only two without.
Okay, I see. I
Because
do
Omega
not
was
know.
made before the Bad Batch, but is physically younger than them.
Okay, I guess I was confused on that. Then in that case, oh god,
Mm.
that's kind of the clones are such tragic characters, just right out of the bat.
Yeah, which I like. Again, was something they went into with the Senator Tucci arc of trying to get clones a retirement plan.
Mm. Which I
That
love.
was her
I love they
motivation.
brought her back. I
Just
love they brought
average
back Tucci.
Saga.
I okay. Did you see the plot twist coming? Because apparently my brother did.
Which plot twist?
Well, there are so many, but the one where it's you're not the only female clone, Omega.
I knew there was something up with her. I didn't know it was that. And I won't lie, that did sort of leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. We'll have to see what they do with it in the next season. But
Mm.
eh,
Well,
eh.
here's the thing. It was definitely a what moment. I think it was mostly there for shock value. Here's the reason I'm okay with it. This confirms that there are clones that have been made by the Kaminoans that have nothing to do with the Clone Wars. This person did not fight in the Clone Wars. So that means the Kaminoans made clones for different reasons, other purposes. And that makes me wonder, what else did they make clones for? Like this woman did not fight in the war. She was clearly
As far
like
as
a
we know.
scientist or something.
Yeah.
Could there be more at that point? Like, could there be clones? Like, I assume the Kaminoans probably made clones just to do their dirty work and do stuff around Kaminoa.
Yeah. Because they went to
Camino, not
type
Kaminoa.
with the ass if they went to the Kaminoans because they're cloners. That's what Dexter Jetster knew them as. Oh, cloner.
Mm. I truly wonder what's going on with that. How many more clones are out there?
I think so. For one, again, before the reveal, okay, she's clearly like she was clearly somewhat helping Crosshair. She was clearly a Kiwi. Okay, the, they're all clones of, so based on that. Have to assume, okay, she's still a clone of Jango Fett, I assume,
Mm.
for her to be calling Omega her sister. So she seemingly has the accelerated aging. Okay, well, yeah, what? I don't. I think after reveal, I'm annoyed by it more that that's how they end the season, versus had that been the reveal before the finale. I said, oh my god, what's gonna happen in the finale? At the end of the season, it's like, you've just done that as an extra for next season, more so than anything. I feel.
Well,
So I'm definitely gonna watch next season. Because, yeah, I love that batch.
I definitely kind of agree with you because now you kind of know how they're going to get out of there. Like Crosshair and Omega are probably going to team up with the scientist lady. That being said, though, literally in my head, I was like, my hope is they somehow in the season where Crosshair and Omega are together and they are alone. Because I want to see that dynamic. And they did it, and now I'm so excited. So that was kind of my big, like, I got what I wanted, so that was my thing at the end. Like, the reveal is cool, the plot twist is, like, it raises some questions, but since now I get to see the Crosshair Omega dynamic, I was very happy at the end. Speaking of Crosshair, we're about to go into Mandalorian, but I mean, we gotta talk about the Crosshair episodes in a bit more detail, right? We kind of gotta. So,
Yeah.
first Crosshair episode, Cody shows up. Immediately great. They're hanging out, they're going on a mission. Cody gets to see how brutal Crosshair is. Cody gets to see how little the clones matter to the Empire. Cody deserts. And I love the line at the end where it's like, seems like a lot of clones are deserting around you. That episode was good. The next episode was like Andor level of storytelling. The next Crosshair one. Where he's on this planet with this like douchey guy who's like the Imperial, who's like, you're gonna do what I say, clones, you're property. And he's treating the clones like absolute shit. Crosshair is kind of just not reacting. Crosshair doesn't have a lot of emotions to this stuff, which I love. I love that they push Crosshair to his breaking point. He begins to, air quotes, befriend this guy because Crosshair kind of keeps at a distance from befriending anybody. He begins to like get close with this one other clone. They're sent on a mission. All the other clones die except for him. The guy gets injured. Crosshair drags him back. There was a joke earlier where it was like, if you die, I'm not dragging back your corpse. But he's alive. Crosshair gets him back. And he's like, please get this guy some aid. And it's like, did you succeed in the mission? Well, no. Okay, we're going to let him die. And he does! Yeah. He just fucking dies!
There on the tarmac. Vultures overhead.
Crosshair just goes... Like, at this point, Crosshair's at his fucking breaking point. He's sitting there and he's like, oh, Commander. Fucking shoots the guy! Shoots him dead! And at that point, that was my cheer moment where I was like, yes, get him out of there! And then right after he died, I was like, oh, fuck, Crosshair just killed... Crosshair just killed an Imperial, like, general. What's gonna happen to Crosshair? How did you feel, man? Because, like, that episode was 100% amazing storytelling. And Crosshair, unbelievably great character.
Yeah, no. I love, like, on Rampart's point of, a lot of clones seem to be deserting around you. I love that, and that's mostly coincidence. Crosshair doesn't have much to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the people around him deserting that leads to him. It takes a lot for him to leave the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first episode with Cody is great. For one, getting more Cody is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And the like memorials, fallen bones, and everything.
Makes you wonder what we're going to see from Cody.
It's like in Clone Wars again. It's just giving us so much of these characters that weren't really characters in the film.
Mm-hmm. And when you think about the situation with the clones, you were literally made for the purpose of fighting in a war. And the fact that this show asked the question, what happens after the war? What happens in this new setting? Are we just supposed to, like, follow this? And what I love about Crosshair and what I love about his story is it's kind of showing, like you mentioned it yourself, he never encourages the other clones to desert. They all desert because of how the Empire is. And Crosshair was trying to be stubborn about it. Crosshair was trying to stick with the Empire no matter what, until it reached the point where he realized just how bad the Empire fucking was, and he had to turn on them. Like, literally everything in him made him shoot that man. The Empire is so self-destructive, it's literally turning its soldiers against it. So because of that, and they're even dabbling a little bit with that in Mandalorian, but because of that, it's such an interesting tale, and this character has gone so much farther from, I'm the guy who shoots stuff. Like, God, such an original character to do. He's so stoic, and he barely speaks at all some episodes. Mm-hmm. But, like, every time they dig into his head, you love what you see. Just, Crosshair is the highlight of the show. But I love Tech, and I love Hunter, I love Wrecker. I can't wait to cry when each one of them die, because we know they're not in the original trilogy.
Yeah. My hope is, as you said, for next season, in terms of, we know how they're going to get out now. Have Omega Tech. Oh no. Oh my god. Omega Crosshair. Yeah, my hope is we get at least 2 episodes with them just as our leads. Okay, them getting out. I mean, however long it takes them to get out. But I want 1 episode of just the 2 of them escape, trying to get back to the rest.
I think we're going to get that. I feel like the majority of next season, like, I think there's going to be a solid 5, 6, maybe 7 episodes. Omega not near the Bad Batch at all. And the stories are them trying to get back together. I really do want Crosshair and Omega to have a dynamic. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, because we got a tease of that in the initial premiere of season 1, where Crosshair's having his migraines and everything because of the inhibitor chip. But no, none of the rest of them are really picking up on. But Omega goes and like sits on the bench next to him. Like, I know it's not your fault. And sort of looks up at him and goes, oh, what would you know? And shoves her off. Goes, oh, she's. There was all those theories in season one about is Omega a force sensitive clone? What's her enhancement? Is she just more empathetic, perhaps? Yeah, I look forward to just seeing the two of them interact more because they're the two that haven't interacted at all. They were in 1, 2 episodes together. I mean, I suppose the finale of season 1 as well.
And if they get
I
out,
thought 3 episodes.
well, if they get out and they don't immediately interact with the Bad Batch again, like if 90 if Clone Force 99 isn't immediately the ones to like save them and break them out of there, I want there to be an episode where Crosshair gives Omega some gun lessons. I want him to teach her how to shoot, and maybe then in the future, because I think we all kind of universally agree, Omega could be the character who keeps going after this show. Like we could potentially see her show up in the New Republic era, theoretically. I think it would be really cool if she has a little piece of each one of the Bad Batch with her. Like Tech has taught her how to drive. For example, she knows how to pilot spaceships because of Tech. Fucking Hunter could teach her how to track. If she knows how
Hacker taught her explosives last season.
if she knows how to shoot like Crosshair, we kind of get all of the Batch's skills in one character. Maybe her skill is she learns from the Batch, and I know some people would be like, she needs to have her own power. Fuck it, man. The idea of this character, just the idea of her learning from her family and taking their skills with her in the future, I'd love it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, no, my hope is, in terms of seeing Omega beyond Bad Batch, is in live action is where we will next see Omega, like, grown up. Interacting with Boba Fett at some point.
Boba Fett season 2. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if they're going to do another Boba Fett show. We were pitching maybe they'll put her in the first season of Boba Fett. I remember that. What if that's the premise of a second season? Like, what if it's literally you have this sister you didn't know about, and that's the whole premise? And that could be so interesting for Omega because she would have lost all of her clone family, and now she has one more member, her actual brother Boba Fett. That could be really cool. That could be fucking awesome.
I hesitate to say actual brother. They're all her actual brother.
Yeah, but you know what I mean there, where it's like,
unaltered clone.
We're a little more connected. And plus, maybe that would mean she connects to him more because they're the only two that get to age. Like, they could, like, obviously I think Boba Fett is a little older than her. I don't know if they're twins. But they would get to, like, hang out together and, like, theoretically figure out the universe together. I think that could be really cool. But let us go into our last topic of today. Final one, Mandalorian. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right, that's my review. We're done. I like it.
Wait, no, before we move on. I think my favorite episode, not including Crosshair one from Bad Batch, they brought back the Zillow beat.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're very right. Actually, fun fact, you making a post where you were like, everybody watch this episode, there are spoilers, actually got me back into watching Bad Batch, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this show is actually really good. And then I started just sticking with it.
Yeah. No, but the opening of the episode, it's alien. Yep, we get it. It's horrifying. It's scary. Yep, that works. And Sid going, oh, yeah, this is down ship. Okay. And when they first see the creature and you just see the mouth, like, oh, it's a Zillow beast. and then they get a wider shot. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not. It's like a armored dog thing. And then when it starts eating the energy, I'm like, is it? And
It's the Zillow
growing,
Beast.
and yeah, it's a clone Zillow Beast. It's a younger Zillow Beast.
I, I,
Why?
the Empire
What is the
got it.
plan? What is Palpatine doing? Is this something to do with trying to clone himself more sensitive? Is this something for the Dark Trooper thing? What is the plan? I don't know. But my guess and somewhat gut feeling is Omega and Crosshair escaping. They have Godzilla underneath this base.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's gonna get out and wreck some shit.
Well, here's the thing. This is the second time the Zillow Beast has popped up now.
Mm.
We know that Ahsoka knows what the Zillow Beast is. We know the Bad
Mm.
Batch knows what it is.
Mm.
There is a combination crossover movie coming out relatively soon now. What if Thrawn has access to the Zillow Beast in the New Republic timeline, and we get to see a live action Zillow Beast?
I will die a happy man. The Zillow Beast is one of those things. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. We're never gonna see that again.
And then we saw it again. I love it when Star Wars does big creatures to kind of go into Mandalorian a little. That fucking
Yeah, okay.
T-Rex fucking pterodactyl thing they had in one of the most recent episodes.
The Raptor.
Yeah,
they
that guy
call it.
looked cool as shit.
Yeah. And then the crocodile snapping turtle thing in the first episode. The Mythosaur.
So I want to make this clear. I do not dislike the current season of Mandalorian, but I have had a problem with Mandalorian since the first season, and that problem seems to be finally affecting other people too. Which is,
Okay.
Mandalorian is very side questy. It's just unbelievably side questy, which I don't hate. I've never hated that it's side questy. I understand that's what the show is. But I feel like specifically when there's an episode where it's like, oh yeah, Moff Gideon got out. We're really gearing you up for these last couple of episodes. But before we do that, Jack Black is here, and Christopher Lloyd is here, and we're gonna talk about all this shit. it just kind of feels like, you were building towards a thing, and you could have really ramped us up with the build up for that thing, but instead you did an episode about Jack Black in space, which, for the record, no problems with Jack Black's character. No problems with anything in that episode. It's just, the episode's filler. It's filler. And we don't need that right now. Like, it feels like that could have been trimmed. And I feel the same thing. Like, it ended up coming back in the plot, so I forgive this one too. But when the kid just got kidnapped out of nowhere, and then the rest of the episode is about, we gotta save this kid, that kind of felt like, well, all right, we're stretching out time a little. But then they brought it back when Paz Vizsla was like, I am now determined to help out Mando because he saved my son. Like, that kind of won it over for me, where I was like, okay, well, actually, you really made this work. But
Sure.
I don't know, there is something really funny to me about, like, oh yes, we're moving the plot along, and Grogu is learning how to use the darts. We're really starting to get back to the main story. Giant dragon just swoops down, picks up kid, flies away. Oh no, a thing we have to do before we can do all that other stuff we were doing. Oh no!
Sure.
What do you think?
I'll grant you that one. I disagree a bit about that one being side questy because I think that works for the whole thing. If the
I
Mandalorian
agree.
covert
It started off side quest, they fixed it.
The Mandalorians need a new home. Living in this cave on this planet is not a great idea.
It's a nice cave.
Build, and then they're offered this small parcel of land down by the lava flat on Navarro, ultimately building towards reclaiming Mandalore. I think that we're showing, but this is why we need Mandalore. This is why we need a home world.
Mm.
I feel like that. Yes, the latest episode at time of recording was very much filler. Yes, it was still fun. A lot of people compare it to a lot of classic Clone Wars episodes, and yeah, I get that vibe. I think, and for me, that's not been an issue with the Mandalorian. I've accepted that a, a, a few seasons ago that it's a very episodic side questy story, which for this traveling that which were up to this point for this traveling bounty hunter taking on jobs and everything. It's like Cowboy Bebop,
Mm.
taking on these jobs to not pay rent, but to get food, to take care of the kids, to get to where we need to go and do what we need to do.
I
Fine
thinking
with that.
about it that
I
way,
didn't.
it does make more sense. This is a bounty hunter show. A bounty hunter's whole life is side quests. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
So that was fine for me. And like you said, how people just noticed. How you had said, oh, people are just noticing this now. That's because I think it's become an issue now.
Mm.
Going into this season, we were told, okay, cool. After Boba Fett, here's the goal: get to the Mandalore, bathe in the living waters, become Mandalorian again, and oh yeah, that's it. He's got the dark saber. Yeah, leave the planet, restore Mandalore. Cool. That's going to be the arc for this season.
Does it in the first 2 episodes.
And when that was done in the first 2 episodes, I thought, oh my god, I can't wait to see what they're going to do instead. It's all for time, apparently.
Well, I'll give them a little bit of leadway because like I'm talking about filler, and I guess the argument could be made that this episode is filler too. But episode 3 was pretty damn good to me.
Yeah.
Where they do the stuff where it's like, we blew up Bo-Katan's house. Now we're gonna do a whole side story about Cushing. And yeah, this is a side quest through and through, but like it's a good side quest, so I'm okay with it. Like I was always curious what happened to this character, and you see this other character, and I had that thought in my head. I was like, she looks familiar. Why does she look familiar? Sure enough, watch the new Rockstars video. Oh yeah, that's the lady who was like second in command to Moff Gideon. Oh yeah.
You have just outed yourself, sir.
I'll admit
You
I don't
skip
get
the
it all.
recaps at the start of the episodes, don't you?
I do skip the recaps. Yes, I do. But I kind of like doing that because that was a surprise to me, and I really like that.
Sure.
I knew she was gonna have like secrets. I knew she wasn't gonna be completely who she said she was. Didn't know she was gonna be straight up evil. Like they really did become friends, and Cushing might be dead now. Like it seems.
Pershing.
It seems to imply that he's either dead or his mind got fucked. He was in the Mind Flayer, so I have no idea. I really liked that episode.
Yeah, I think the first. Well, no. Episode 1 was still good.
Mm-hmm.
I think episode 2 and 3, I think, are the strongest episodes so far this season.
Episode 1 was mostly setup, which is why
Yeah.
I don't say it's like super good. Wasn't bad setup, but it was mostly setup.
Yeah.
And plus, like, I don't know if they're going to fix it by the end, but the IG-33 stuff seems to have gone nowhere, and we spent a lot of time on that. 11, my bad.
Again, they spent a good chunk of time on that, which then I think they just needed to handle the trade-off from, okay, we're dropping this and going with R5 instead. They just needed to handle that change of MO a little better.
Mm.
But I like that stuff. I like when they revive him and he's like stop motion crawling along the floor. Great. Or I mean, it might have been CG and they just dropped frames, but either way, that looks great. I really enjoyed that. Seeing the Anzellans again, a bunch of them in the wee Mando sort of crouched down in the shop, Grogu's trying to hug them. It's good fun. It was good fun, but yeah, it was just setup, which unfortunately went kind of nowhere.
I agree. I liked seeing them. I liked seeing Grogu interact with them. But, like, I do still agree with that as well. Like, it doesn't feel like it was important to what we're doing now. Whereas with episode 2, and, like, Episode 2 is probably the best episode. I think I'd agree with that because it has a lot of Bo-Katan just looking at her homeworld and just discussing how it used to be. It really is the combination of what Mando's been trying to do since Book of Boba Fett. It's a really eventful episode, and the robot thing they fight in it looked really cool.
There's a Lego set of that coming out later this year. Cannot wait.
Oh, God, that's going to be sweet. And plus, it kind of like, it satisfied me a little bit because it was like, oh, hey, another Grievous spot. Dope.
Yeah.
But, like, the pirate stuff was okay. At this point, I consider anything that happens with, what's the name of the character that's the magistrate? What's his name?
Grief Karga.
Yeah, Grief. I consider Grief a main character in the show now. So anytime we go over to him, it doesn't feel side questy to me anymore. It feels like the main plot. And plus, we know that Navarro's important because that's where they had the cloning facility set up. So we know that Navarro later on is probably going to have a lot of shit going on. In fact, Navarro might end up being the setting of this Dave Filoni movie. I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
Again, they have these sets and everything. I think, and again, it's what I said, Filoni through these different shows is accounting for that somehow Palpatine returned. Because we find in Bad Batch, you find out in season 2, oh yeah, they blew up Camino and everything in season 1 finale, so that the Empire can have cloning also themselves. Now here we're seeing, here's an Empire base way off from Camino, where they're still doing cloning experiments, even after the fall of the Empire, which is all for away on Exegol, working with Strandcast and everything, what Palpatine and the Eternal are doing, which, the movie never cared to explain.
Yeah.
But yeah, giving us all this, great. It's exactly what he did with Clone Wars. Okay, let's get you invested in these clone characters. Okay, cool. You like the clones now? Huh? Okay. Order 66 takes place in a few years. We need to explain this and make this work, and they do. And the finale of Clone Wars is again some of the best in Star Wars. So I'm hopeful that's the same track that we're going on here. Granted, I don't think we're going to have... Here's what Ahsoka was doing while Rey was fighting Palpatine. We're not going to get anything like that. But we're filling in these gaps, making it no longer as great of a leap. He's building... People built these cities on either side of a river, and Dave Filoni is building the infrastructure and the road system and mapping everything out to connect. Not to be overhyping it.
No,
he's
I
great.
agree.
He's great. He's done good.
I would say that the only thing that the current modern Star Wars-y stuff that really didn't work for me was Book of Boba Fett, which I'm referring to the shows, by the way, not the movies, because we can say other things that didn't work about the movies, but Book of Boba Fett, like, to me, felt like setup, Mandalorian episode, really good climactic story episode where we have Luke, Ahsoka, Cad Bane, all this cool shit you want to see. Really shitty finale. That was Boba Fett for me. And my biggest fear going into this crossover movie is that they become a little too Boba Fett-y. Like, they end up doing a bit too much at the end where nothing feels like it's expanded on enough. I guess that would be my fear going into it. But with shows like Bad Batch and shows like Andor, I am more confident about that movie. That being said, we gotta work on this side quest stuff. We really do. That's just my big take on Mando.
Yeah.
I like the show. I really like it. I'm also going to mention that Disney Plus's app crashed 5 times while I was trying to watch it. 5 goddamn times. And it's not my fault. I checked the Wi-Fi
For
and
the
everything.
Jack Black episode as well.
Oh, it was happening since episode 3, which really pissed me
wow.
off. Yeah, I had to deal with it for a long time during my watch of these. Actually, I think episode 3 might have been the only one that ran smoothly, and then it started with episode 4 and continued till the Jack Black episode.
Hmm.
Which I didn't even fully finish. I didn't get to see the ending of that one because of the crashing. I'll finish it later.
The ending yet?
No, not yet. What happens? Is the ending cool? Is it good? You can spoil it. I don't care.
I can't. I'm saying nothing.
Oh, apparently it's a climactic ending. All right.
Climactic's a bit much, but it's a good ending.
Okay. Well, with that, you got anything else to say about Star Warsy stuff?
Not really off the top of my head. I do want to circle back to just on Ahsoka because it's been in my mind there. And after we got to talking about Andor and the destruction of the Death Star, and we mentioned.
Hey Neil, what did you talk about in the Star Wars episode? Everything! Everything!
Ursa, there we go. Galen Ursa. We're going to have in live action both Nicholson brothers now.
Oh yeah, that is true. We got a Lars and a Mads.
Yeah, my hope for Lars as Ron is sure you can paint him blue and do a bit of CG work for the eyes to turn them red. My hope, and okay, in Air the Empire, fun, well done including that line in the trailer. On the cover, his head is a bit longer than its human skull. In Rebels, it's a good bit longer because it's a cartoon. A little prosthetic, a little bit of prosthetic work to make his head that little bit taller, because we do not need another Kenobi Grand Inquisitor situation. Please, please. Why is he such a deformed Cowan? He's the only one that looks like that in live action.
And what's weird about that is in Revenge of the Sith, like I know I'm not the first person to say this, but in Revenge of the Sith, they look so much better. And that movie is so much older than that TV show. The fuck?
I'm sure, okay, practicality-wise, for him to be able to talk better with the fangs, prosthetic, sure. Just do Cad Bane. Just dub over him. It's not that difficult.
Cad looked so good. Cad looked so good, and that's why it was so sad that he was so wasted.
The crossover movie. He can be one of the henchmen that Ron calls in, or who knows? He seemed somewhat anti-Empire when we saw him in Kenobi. Maybe he'll be a neutral party if he's still around.
Or maybe he's fucking dead. Maybe he's fucking dead, Jack. Fuck Book of Boba Fett. Maybe he's fucking dead.
He survived being shot in the head by Boba Fett before.
And then he died because he got stabbed with a stick. A fucking stick, Jack. If he never comes back, canonically, he died at the hands of a stick.
Boba left him there. We didn't see Seth Green droid at all. Toto didn't show up in live action. My money's on they left him, and Toto came in and got him the fuck out of there.
Look, okay. If Cad Bane is alive, I somewhat forgive this. But here's the thing, Disney. I know you like secret reveal villains. I don't like that trope. But you know what trope I hate a lot more? Fake out deaths. Quit doing it. You did it with Kingpin.
It was Kingpin, Cad Bane back to back.
Look, I like a good fake out death when it's executed well. Like, for example, we don't know what happened to Andy Serkis's character. Is he dead? Is he alive? We don't know. We don't know if Tech is dead or alive. We don't know for sure. That I like. We haven't seen the body. We don't know 100%, but it's up in the air. With Cad Bane, he got stabbed. He's bleeding out on the ground right after his live action debut. That's not when you do the fake out death. With Thrawn, I'm more okay with that because we got 2 whole seasons of Thrawn before the fake out death. Don't bring a character in and then instantly do a fake out death, which is what they did with both
Yeah.
Kingpin and Cad Bane. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. Now that I've talked about hating it, let's go into our plugs.
Sure. Hi, everyone out there on the chat. I'm Jack of all Trades. You can find me, Jack of all Trades, on YouTube. It'll be linked down in the description below. Primarily action channel at the moment. At the time we're recording this, I've finished My Hero Academia Season 6. It's a solid contender for the best season. Season
Really?
2 is still great. Yeah, the first arc was brilliant, and the second arc, while not as good, was dealing with all the fallout of that first arc. It's a great package. And they've set, and then even then, the last couple episodes, still dealing with all that fallout, we're simultaneously setting up. Okay, cool. Here's what we're gonna do going forward. What we just tried, what we did in the first half, what we tried doing in the fallout of it. Here's the new plan. Here's what we're gonna do. But there's still all this stuff going on, and I can't wait to see because the anime is now in the final arc, the final. Do they call it arc? Final act. That's what they called it. So assuming it's a minimum of 3-act structure, and I know the manga is coming to a close, it might be ending this year, if not early next year. So there's only about 1 more season, maybe 2 at a push. So everything's coming to a head in that show, and it's great. That said, this week and next week, I'm going to be covering the last little tidbits of My Hero anime that I've not yet seen, which are the OVAs and the 3rd movie. The OVAs, there's My Hero League Baseball. It's characters playing baseball, a sport I don't especially care for. And then there's Laugh Like Hell, which I saw earlier today and is fantastic. And then there'll be the movie, which I've not looked at any reviews for. I liked the first 2. We'll see how the 3rd one does.
There's a second movie? I didn't even know that.
There's the first one on Island. There's the second one on the other island, which is named after something from Star Wars, funnily enough.
The 3rd one will be on another island, and then the 4th one will be on an island. A European island.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I'm covering a lot of My Hero over there recently, just as that season's coming to an end, and I'm like, okay, let's wrap everything up before moving on. Yeah, next going to be Made in Abyss. We're going to be doing a bit more video essay stuff. Again, I haven't had a chance to re-record my top 10 movies, anime, and cartoon videos. They're probably going to come out halfway through this year at this rate. But no, I've recently seen Dungeons and Dragons, seen the Mario movie. I've got quite a few topics I want to talk about. Hopefully we'll be getting a bit more varied content on that channel going forward.
I also am hoping to do some sort of review for the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Haven't seen it yet. Very excited to, because I've heard, my big concern, I know I told you, was that it looked too Jumanji-ish. But now what I'm hearing is people are like, no, it's more Guardians of the Galaxy, and the characters are well developed. I'm getting pretty hyped for that. I hope to see that in the next few days. But ladies and gents, we're in a rare circumstance where I have actually done something that is usually impossible for Niels. I have made plans and executed some forethought. Yes, I know, shocking. So, we actually have a good list of videos on the way. Yes, I've become tech. My brain is bigger than you could ever imagine. But tomorrow, premiering, and I'm going to upload this right after it's done processing. So by the time you watch this video, if you're watching it today, the day it came out, by tomorrow, you will see a video where I play Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, a video game I really like from my childhood. But the highlight of that video is we talk about the Star Wars announcements. We also talk about the new announcements for the live-action Disney movies, which I don't know if you heard about this, Jack, but apparently They're doing a live-action remake of Nightmare Before fucking Christmas.
Yep.
I don't understand
and
how.
Moana, reason.
Well, here's the thing, Jack. If you want to see my actual real-time reaction to finding out they're redoing Nightmare Before Christmas, you can in that video. Here's a little taste. I screamed. I was very surprised by the idea. But after that one premieres tomorrow, we actually have a couple more YouTube premieres on the way. The Sally Face Let's Play is here. It will be premiering the 14th. But before that, you can see me and my friends play Dead by Daylight, where we discover some lore about the Teletubbies universe. Turns out, the Teletubbies have children now, and one of them is named Umpus. That is the premise of that video, just us talking about Umpus, our new Lord and Savior, and who are the parents of each Teletubby. Yeah, Jack, we make weird videos on this channel.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't even remember how we started talking about that, but we did. And after that, we have the second episode of Sally Face. We have a Let's Play of what's the name of that game? Judgment on the way. And a couple videos in the works. I'm wanting to start doing reviews of some of my favorite South Park episodes with the help of my good friend Christy. So hopefully those will be out soon. We are potentially doing more reviews in the future, and I am currently learning stuff to give you edited content. More edited content is on the way. So yeah, enjoy the Let's Plays that are being uploaded. Enjoy the streams. Enjoy the Ballad of Umpus, our one true Lord and Savior. We need to end this stream, Jack. How are we going to end it? How are we going to end this stream?
By recreating the Bad Batch finale.
Tech! No! You killed him, you bastard! And for shock value, now I'll kill Baby Yoda. Yeah, he's dead too. Bye.